Alright, welcome back to Euro Truck Simulator 2. Finishing off Nebraska last week, then freed us up to do the connections of Switzerland. Basically, they completely reworked the road network of Switzerland within the game, one of the older areas. And to encourage people to go back and explore, they've added in this event. It's the first time they've done one in conjunction with a rework, I think. So we've got to use external contracts and do 20 million tons of cargo. When I checked last night, they're up to about 17 million. So we kind of want to prioritize heavy deliveries, which is an interesting one. And need to be at least 200 Ks, but if you're going between Switzerland and 10 different countries, we're gonna need to go at least 200 Ks, I think, most of the time. So I put myself back to Prague, because I figured that to get 10 countries to Switzerland, you've got France, Germany, Italy, Austria. 4 easy ones. Fortunately, Liechtenstein not in the game. But Luxembourg is, so 5. Luxembourg, Belgium, 6. Netherlands, probably 7. Czech Republic, 8. And then we've kind of got our pick of like Slovenia or Poland or Denmark even. We've got some options. So where are we going? First, we need to rely on actually having deliveries to Switzerland. That's going to be the first annoyance, because there's no guarantee. We've got Slovenia. Oh, here we go, CH. We're just going to remember it's not SW, it's CH. So that's a 23,000 kilo, 20,000, 20,000. Okay, so there's nothing hugely heavy, unfortunately. I would have liked a proper, heavy delivery. In lieu of that, we'll go with value, perhaps. We've got a valuable cargo of an excavator, slightly more interesting than delivering soy milk, which I'm intolerant to. And here's our trailer. It's kind of amusing because if we had a locomotive cargo, we could do a speed run. There is a locomotive speed run to go from here to a depot in Switzerland, but it has to be a very specific depot, and I don't think it's a cargo that's actually valid in the game. You have to stitch it together using a save editor. It was an attempt to make a cargo-based speedrun for the game, because otherwise it's all just really random. It's either just racing, or it's just like your first 5 deliveries, which isn't as exciting, but is at least a lot more consistent. So, you know, they're turning, and they're also turning into the same place. That's it. Now we will be covering over some new roads as well. This is the game where we did once have 100% on the map, and then installed DLC, and now they keep changing things. And it's now trying to hit a very fastly moving target, it seems. It's quite late at night, and yet I don't need to sleep. I'm not generally a fan of driving through the night. But, oh well, we're going now. I could just sleep through the night and then just keep going during the day, but it's fine. The roads around here are pretty well lit for now. If I pass a rest stop, I might just duck in and sleep though, because it's always more interesting watching during the daytime. Otherwise, you know, outside here, not much to see really. Not quite as exciting an experience. And this is not a short delivery. This is definitely the 200 kilometers required. 9.5 hours. Generally times that by 3 in order to know how long it'll take in real time. So it's about a half an hour delivery, all up, quite frankly. We can speed a little bit. We're limited to 90 with an external contract, but the speed limit on these roads is only 80, and I think once you get into Switzerland it's even less. So we're technically going to be speeding a decent amount. There is some amount of light around. I don't know how much can be actually seen on the video though. I can kind of see it. You might need to turn your brightness up. There's a rest stop over here. You know what? We've done enough night driving. let's pull into the rest stop. And we'll try and make it a bit of a nicer viewing experience for everyone involved, shall we? Let's pull in next to this tanker over here. Oh, and have my screen flicker black for a second. Hey, Dragon Lady, welcome, welcome. You're close to home. Yes, yes I am. Yeah, I'm actually delivering to Zurich, I believe. I love playing this game. It's one of my many obsessions. I've been very remiss in not jumping on the forum as much as I used to. But life gets in the way, and generally, yeah, didn't feel very creative. So bad at driving in games. I'm really, well, I say really good at driving in games. I shouldn't talk myself up that much, because I crash an awful lot. But given that I don't drive in real life, I am at least a lot better at driving in games than real life. It would probably help if I had a wheel and pedals so I could pretend and learn the right things. But instead I just use a controller, because it's easier. I don't have really enough desk space, unfortunately, for a wheel. I had thought we moved to a new, larger house that, hey, I'll have room for gaming, and yeah. I can only cram so much stuff on desktop, especially with my work laptop next to me. I do need to learn to drive. We did have the thought of maybe I should do some lessons this weekend while our daughter's in respite care, so I don't have that to worry about at least, because I'm certainly not learning to drive with her in the car. Trying to guess where I am. The terrain is usually pretty good in this game. It's not like 1-to-1, obviously. The scale is 1-to-20 when you're out in the open, and then it's approximately 1-to-3 when you're in an urban area. That's the time effect, at least. That's the time scale, and the distance scaling is meant to be basically that. A lot of these intersections are all just pretty cookie cutter. Like, this is one of the older parts of the game still. But once we actually get into Switzerland, the whole point of this is that they've reworked the road system in the game to be a little bit more true to life, I believe, or at least a bit more representative. It's something they've been doing a lot more in the newer areas of the game, and they've been trying to take it back into the old zones. They've been reworking Germany over the last few years. Then they did Austria, and now they've done Switzerland. They generally are good at capturing at least the vibe, and, you know, like the side decorations there's probably a stretch of road that has those, so they'll just lift that and chuck it in the game on the correct road. It might not be exactly the right features and stuff. Obviously, when you're squishing things down by a 20th, you can't represent everything exactly, but we're on the E50, and that's presumably a real road. E50 turning into the 5, looks like. Or sharing, code sharing with the 5. And just get the nice rolling hills. There's a lot more trees around. I was just driving Nebraska in American Truck Simulator the last few weeks, and that was generally a lot flatter and a bit less featureless. Europe certainly has a lot more going on. It's a lot more compact, if nothing else. If this wasn't an external contract, so there's two different types of contract in the game. There's the general freight market, which is basically the offline mode. That's what you start out by doing generally, because especially you do quick jobs when you first start, which means that the truck gets provided to you. You start with nothing. You take quick jobs, you use someone else's truck to drive a delivery to the destination, you get paid. Eventually, you can buy your own truck, and then you can take freight market jobs. You can also take the external contract jobs. These are serviced by the World of Trucks server, and they're the only things that contribute towards these community goals. So we've got an event at the moment to make 10 deliveries to and from different countries to Switzerland. And yeah, obviously you have to use like the server provided deliveries for them to be able to track that so that they can know what your progress is like. So that's what we rely on. And unfortunately that limits us to 90 k's an hour. It's kind of nice in this regard that it doesn't limit me to the speed limit, so I can go 90 instead of 80. But it is annoying when you're then travelling on a road where the speed limit's actually like 110 or something, and you're still limited to 90. But if it wasn't for that, if I was doing a freight market job, then I would be speeding a lot. And then I would definitely be in the left lane or the shoulder. See, and then sometimes cars just decide to change lane into you, like back there. I was definitely in the lane, I was just driving steadily, and then, yeah, every now and then they'll just change lanes and crash into you. That's one of the reasons I did turn the fines off, because I was sick of being fined for a collision when I wasn't the one at fault. Don't get me wrong, I'm usually the one at fault, but not always. And yeah, it's reasonably realistic. Like, trucks are, by law, I believe, limited to a certain amount. Here they're limited to 90 k's an hour as a maximum, so that's kind of similar. You also have a fatigue simulation, so for every 12 or so hours, so we've got a next rest stop is due in 8 hours and 20 minutes, so we'll be able to get this one finished before we have to sleep. If you exceed that, 1, you would be fined if you had them enabled, and 2, you start to grey out and eventually black out entirely. If you go more than an hour over, you black out entirely and usually crash. How it is in Germany, but limits are much higher than here? Yeah. Yeah, that's the weird thing. So I'm currently driving in Germany, and it's still, I guess this isn't Autobahn, perhaps? Also possible that there is just an EU limit for trucks regardless. Even though the technical speed limit might have been higher, maybe it's now all standardized, I don't know. Specifically for, like, freight. No idea. I don't do enough research, really. If I was really hardcore about this, I would have like a proper simulator set up and I'd know what the laws are and I would adhere to them. But that's not really my speed. This is casual hobby time. That sounds far too much like work. I mean, there are people who play like that. They'll have like a full sim set up with like 3 screens, they have a wraparound, they'll have a gear shifter and everything. And I respect that. I don't understand it, but I respect it. That's where you need to hook up some sort of fly-by-wire system where they can actually be controlling a real truck in real life, kind of like a drone pilot, and actually be delivering things half a world away while at home. That would be an interesting future. Not sure how liability would work, though. Also, connection issues might be a bit of a problem. Maybe the future is like AI-driven vehicles, or like self-driving, but monitored remotely by someone who can take over if needed. That would be interesting. Not too far from your family there. Oh yeah, going past Stuttgart. I really want to get back and work on... I started doing modding for the game, doing a map mod. I got as far as placing like 2 strips of road, like learning how it works, getting it set up, placing a couple of strips of road, realizing the enormity of the task, and then giving up. Which is a pretty common theme, it must be said. Because I originally was wanting to do a small New Zealand bit that I could then expand on. So it'd be like, take the ferry to Auckland Port, and then drive a bit around, just reuse some assets. There was a tower back there that reminded me of kind of like the Sky Tower, so you just kind of slap that down, reuse some buildings in particular places. I feel that would be a bit of a fun thing that they could do now. They've got Greece as the next DLC, but then they've kind of run out of Europe, quite frankly. As it is, they've stretched it out by making Greece separate instead of it being included in the Balkans, which they could have done. But now they're expanding Norway. They're pushing that further north, the Nordic Horizons, because currently you can't go further north than Oslo. So I think the idea is you'll be able to go all the way up to Tromsø, which is exciting. So I'm looking forward to that. Originally they were going to push through to Russia, but then things happened, and that's been shelved indefinitely. I still think they should just do just Ukraine, and have the borders be the original borders, and just do that. But I can understand why a company would not want to. But I'd love for them to then just add on extra parts that you could just take a ferry, just simulate driving to, you know, Australia, for example, do a Sydney DLC or something. And yeah, obviously New Zealand, slightly biased. But yeah, it does take a lot of time. There are some people who have done some pretty impressive map packs, or map mods. There's even one that has done like a 1-to-1 of Paris, which is kind of pointless because driving in Paris sounds like an absolute nightmare and not something I would want to do in a large truck. But apparently someone's done it. Hey, Mr. Smarty, welcome. So I was wanting to do just like still just the 1-to-20 scale of just Auckland to start with, probably. Just go to some of the inland port areas, some of the like container areas, and then just be able to extend it a little bit more, maybe head down as far as like Hamilton, for example. But yeah, that would be something that takes a long time. It's the sort of thing that I'd have done when I was 16 and at high school and had nothing better to do. I was making maps for Unreal Tournament and Warcraft 3 back then instead. Can't talk about map mobs and not talk about pro mods? Sure I can. Pro mods is interesting. I tried pro mods once and then got bored. Also, I much prefer to just stick with the main game primarily. Like pro mods, they've done a great job. That is a bunch of very gifted amateurs who have expanded the map far beyond the original boundaries, but it's done in a very kind of, you know, obviously relatively derivative fashion, so it's just, you know, using existing prefabs and stuff. So it's certainly not the same as when they expand the map properly themselves and flesh out the zones with a little bit more research and stuff. So, what MMOs do I play? I have not actually played any for a while. I should change my description. I used to play World of Warcraft a lot. And then I was playing Black Desert for a while, and then I started playing New World for a while. It still holds true that any multiplayer-esque game I pretty much only play as a single player game. Warframe, I was just doing solo, which is FPS as opposed to MMO. World of Warcraft I would still like to dip back into. I was going to do a playthrough of Wrath of the Lich King in Classic when that was released, but now they've released Cataclysm, and you can no longer just play Wrath of the Lich King. They basically have gated it, instead of keeping the servers up where you can play that. For all I know, I haven't actually tried. I should jump in, and even though it's the Cataclysm world, technically Northrend should still be there, right? It just won't be the end game. But that's fine. I've never cared what the end game was. I just level at my own pace. It was just exciting playing through that content. Yeah, I avoided going back to Classic originally because they didn't bring in quality of life updates. It was like, this is the Classic world as it used to be. Oh, you mean it's kind of rubbish? Okay. Well, I'm not going to play that then. Final Fantasy XIV for the past 5 years? Nice, yeah. I have heard a lot of good things about FF14. Also a lot of memes. I tried playing Final Fantasy 15 at one point. It's just big open world RPGs I am a big fan of. I need to play more of the Assassin's Creed games, for example, and finish God of War, and start Horizon Zero Dawn. I just get bogged down or distracted, and then I'll go play something else, and then I'll forget. So, yeah. Like, play your own way? Yeah, exactly. Only thing he still streams occasionally is chill exploration of the world. I would be interested. Yeah, just having a place that you can just kind of explore freely is nice. That was where WoW kind of fell down a bit. It's just because of how it was put together, it's such an old style of game that you just get you explore, but then there's just mobs scattered around all over the show. I generally prefer it when you have a little bit more open air and freedom to move. Instead, I always felt that unless you stuck to the roads, or unless you had flying. Once you could fly, it was fine, but then it was just a bit too boring, because it's just, fly over everything. But it's a case of, you had to just weave your way between mobs that were all just, they had set patrol patterns. There'd usually be a way that you could weave your way through them and not draw their attention, but more often than not, you're expected to just kind of fight your way through. Black Desert had the same problem. Though a little bit more open space. Once you're outside of a particular enemy zone, you could usually run more freely through places. Alright, here's the border. Time to pop inside and pay attention. It's wanting me to go... Was I meant to go off to the right, in fact? I'm losing track. Oh, that's buses. Okay, I think I was meant to follow that other truck. Let's just go this way. Oh, this is the way that the road is actually leading me on my GPS, so that's fine. Timber Turtle. Sounds like a cartoon. There we go. Auto check. Most VODs on YouTube. Nice. Update on map progression is at 80%. Nice, Mr. Smarty. Well done. You're definitely going to beat me to 100%, but that's because I don't play this casually. I should play this more casually again. I've been playing Forza more casually instead, though, so... I do actually intend to play... Why are we stopped? Mr. Turtle, please. Just barge your way into traffic. That's how this works. Come on. Come on. There we go. Yeah, he's being far too patient. This problem is the AI in this game is a little bit too dumb a lot of the time. If I take the lane... Nope. Thought so. He was... Yep. It's a case of, oh, if I take the lane, maybe I'll be able to get in front. Nope. Tried to merge in front of me. Or into me. Driven through there a few years ago. Yeah, the border in particular, I think they put a lot of effort into making the border zones pretty representative. Because obviously they are the sort of thing that people do see a lot of in real life. And here's a nice big bridge. See, I'm fairly sure this used to be much more generic, and now this is definitely one of the things they have changed to be much more exciting. And Zurich used to be just a little spot on the map with just a few depots, and now it's much more spread out. That's the big change that they've made in the newer areas and have been putting back into the reworked areas, is making the cities kind of sprawl a lot more. It means that there's less gaps between, which originally I think that they tried to focus on the idea of the countryside between each city being about the right size, so people felt that they were driving between the cities and getting that feeling of expanse. But gaming sensibilities have changed in the last 15 years. I can't remember when this even came out. 20 years it might even be. I can't remember. No, it'd be like 12 years, I think. I can't remember. But either way. 11 years. Thanks. Yeah, it's a case of sensibilities have changed, and it's less about wanting the feeling of driving long distances and the endurance of that, and it's much more about enjoying being in the cities and the sights and the sounds. So the emphasis is now on, let's put more detail into the cities and have them be a bit more representative of their scale, so you can feel like you're driving through the city. And then you have the little bit of countryside that you have to drive between the two. 11 years until October. Alright, so it'll be their 12th anniversary then.
Exit right.
Maybe it's just where you live with the AI is 100% realistic. Yeah, well, most people do stop short of actually crashing into you. They will still do really stupid things, but they'll usually not actually cause an accident. They'd honk at me instead of actually driving into the side of me, I guess. On the one hand, I would stay outside the truck to show the city a little bit more, but I find it much easier driving in close quarters when I'm in the cab. I'm never very good at driving in third-person view. Yes, third-party view. Someone else is doing the driving.
Turn left.
Especially when it's tight roads like this. Oh, this is a one-way? Okay, good.
Keep right, and then turn right. Turn right.
There's a viewpoint over there. Shall we stop for a coffee? There's a nice cafe over there. I feel we could have taken a longer route. Where does that road to the north go? Yeah, I think we could have taken a bypass if we wanted to, rather than driving through the city, but it's fine. Shame can't take a detour and visit. That would be nice. That is one thing I do perpetually wish that they fleshed out a little bit more the kind of the non-city areas. They do sometimes.
Keep left.
West Balkans released October 19th. Well, it's the 11th anniversary. Nice. That said, are you looking at the Steam release date? Because originally ETS2 was not on Steam. It was physical media. Like, when I first started playing this game, it was not on Steam. And then I got it on Steam and had to start again, which was fine. Looking at the ECS website. Okay, yeah, no, in which case that is the actual thing. And when it first launched on Steam, it was very rough by comparison, because that was like version 1.4? Something like that. They did a like 10th anniversary shout out or something of the Steam release, I think. Because I did downpatch, I found the the right depot of what it would have been to play it when it first came out. There's a video somewhere of it, I think. I think I put that on YouTube. Not sure. My mind gets very flaky when it comes to things even to do with my own stream. I remember it happened. I'm fairly sure I highlighted it. Or maybe I did an offline recording of it. I might not have even streamed it. Where are we going? Are we going into the... We're not going to the DAF dealership, are we? Oh, we were meant to go over there. We were meant to deliver it to Stokes.
Here we are.
It just kind of stopped. The route guidance. Also, I was talking over my GPS. Poor Geralt, just... He tries to help. There we go. He tries to help. I can't be bothered reversing it. Mind you, turning around that tightly is going to be annoying too, but... There was a time when I would religiously park at full difficulty every delivery. And then I realized that I really can't be bothered. I don't need the XP, and that's the only benefit it gives. That's not quite the right angle, is it? No, we're going to overshoot. Thought I was going to just be able to put it in sideways and then be able to just drive out. There we go. Unloading. Excellent. Prague to Zurich. Oh. Okay, it's just catching up on all of the Christmas... Okay, so I guess the last time I played this was Christmas. Alright. It's been a little while.